Hello YouTube, my name is Zach, and I hope you enjoy the kinda new setup. It's the same location, but a different camera, a little bit of different lighting. Hope it makes the experience a little bit better for you. Today I'm going to be analyzing Marcelito Pomoy, and this is him singing The Prayer on the Wish radio station. So I hope you all enjoy it. I'm doing this video because you were so receptive to the Marcelito Pomoy video before that I felt like I should just give you the Filipino community a little bit more love and give you guys something a little bit more. If you did not already know, I do offer a 30-minute free vocal assessment on my website, zachansleyvocals.com. Check it out if you're interested in booking a voice lesson with me. By the way, really quickly, this is not a reaction video. I've already watched this, so I kind of know what to expect. It kind of helps me to prepare what I'm going to say to you beforehand. So, without further ado, here we go. This is The Prayer.
Wish 1075.
I pray you'll be alright and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know.
Okay, so right off the bat, a few things to talk about here. First off, one thing that I learned from the comment section from the Marcelito Pomoy video is that in the Philippines, the language kind of has this natural nasality to it in the way that it's pronounced. So as a result, you kind of commonly see the nasality sound in singers. So I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. He uses a little bit of nasality here, not a big deal. If you want to understand why it's not that big of a deal, check out that Marcelito video and you'll understand. Not a big deal as long as it doesn't come with pressure and force, and this definitely does not. What he's doing here is he's singing in his head voice or his falsetto to create a countertenor-like sound. And so he's singing a soprano-type role. The range he's using is probably mezzo-soprano-ish here. But typically, when you make this kind of sound, you want to move into your head voice, and you get a little bit of what we call pharyngeal space, is where you have some space kind of in the back of the mouth, raising the soft palate, that kind of thing. And he's creating a little bit of nasality to give it sort of that pop contemporary-type edge or sound to it. So that's kind of what he's doing to make this sound here. And as you'll see in a bit, it's going to drastically change. And it's going to give me a good opportunity to kind of show you the differences between how some of these mechanisms work.
Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace to a place where we'll be safe.
Probably the best part of this is the fact that when he does move up into that higher range, into that head voice, he has a nice sense of consistency in his tone. Like, for me, for example, when I first learned to use my head voice and my falsetto, you know, I had my speaking voice down here, and then when I'd go up into falsetto, I sounded like Mickey Mouse, and it was really awkward, and it broke a lot, and that kind of thing, and it didn't have a lot of consistency. And what he's done is he's nurtured this countertenor type approach, this, you know, mezzo-soprano approach to singing, so to speak, that gives him a lot of tonal consistency up in that range. So if you are interested in singing in this style, in this way that he is, and kind of singing in the female register, the first thing you really have to do is nurture that head voice quite a bit. I was very fortunate that my voice teacher in college really emphasized utilizing your head voice, and we kind of learned to do it as a way to make singing easier. Like, so we don't have to hang out in like high registers for very long. We can kind of take it easy and relax and take some of the weight off of our voices. So I kind of developed really early on using the head voice. So if you're between the ages of, say, like 16 and like 25 and you're a guy, I strongly recommend you start implementing your head voice more into your singing. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to be to sing stuff like this, if this is what you want to do. A lot of it comes from creating space. So the difference is if I made a sound like and then if I like open things up in the back of my mouth to raise my soft palate, you get and it takes on a much more singing type quality. So the soft palate is that soft, slimy kind of place in the back of your mouth, and you raise that up like when you yawn. If you you can kind of feel the back of the mouth open up, and that's an example of the soft palate raising, creating some space back there. And that's what he's doing effectively to make this kind of effeminate sound that he's creating here.
La luce che tu dai
nel cuore resterà in hold within our heart.
So the sounds that he's creating that are like deep and rich like this are coming from lowering the larynx or extending the vocal tract, making the space in the throat larger. And so he's creating this robust, open, low larynx sound. And then he's flipping up into his head voice register and using that pharyngeal back of mouth open space for the head voice. So what he's basically doing is he's shifting from creating more space down here to creating more space back here. And he's changing registers in the process. So for anybody who's ever wondered how he's doing that, that's the way he's using it. It's down here, and then it's up here. Down here, up here. So I can't sing like him. I can't do that. Like, I'm very much a baritone. But that's the method that he's using. Space here, then space back here. Chest voice, head voice. And that's basically the trick to all of this. It takes a lot of skill and it takes a lot of practice, and you have to be really good at navigating that space in between the two registers so that when you jump up it doesn't sound like yodeling or something like that, right? It can very easily go all astray if you aren't very careful about it. So really nice job. Low larynx on the modal register and like in the male voice, and then nice open back of the mouth space in the female voice. Really good.
A ricordarci che stars go out each night, eterna stella se nella mia preghiera.
What's really remarkable to me more than anything, I think, is how much depth of resonance he gets from the low larynx type stuff. He's got that really robust richness. I don't know how old he is here, but typically you don't start hearing that kind of fullness and sound from male voice until like the mid to late 20s. I know I didn't make that kind of sound until I was 28, 27, something like that. So he looks younger than that here. I might be wrong. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but he looks like he's younger than 27 here. And so it's really, really remarkable, like skillful stuff. And it shows a lot of vocal development at a young age, which is really nice too. He's got very good legato. What I mean by that is that when he sings phrases, the phrases are connected together and it doesn't sound super jumpy or choppy like that. Everything's very liquid sounding. He's got a sense of line in his singing. So that's also really, really nice.
Let this be our prayer. Want the furniture when shadows fill our day. Lead us to our place. Guide us with your grace.
It's really interesting to me how he kind of makes that change from register to register with almost no sense of disruption between the two registers. It's almost like his move into that head voice is just an extension of his voice rather than a different register that he moves into. And I feel that way because of the times where he like closes the gaps and it's very close. So like, for example, on this last phrase, when he moves up in the top end of the male register and then sings in the female register right afterwards, there's such a small difference between the sound that he creates on the low and in the high that it just shows that like his mix voice or whatever you want to call it is extremely well nurtured, and it almost to the point to where it's non-existent. Let me show you again. So right here. So for example, when he moves up to up into that range as the guy voice, and then when he moves through the into the female voice, the only difference is the affect that he puts on the sound, which is the nasality. He kind of puts a little more nasal to make it have that tonal distinction. But if he didn't do that, the sounds that he would be creating for the two voice types would be virtually identical. It's masterful navigation of the mix register and of the register changes as a whole. It's really good, really skilled.
Give us faith so we'll be saved.
Yeah, one thing that I really like about his singing too is he doesn't open his mouth too I don't know where to stop it. There's too much going on. So I don't want to like cut it out in the worst part, but I got to stop somewhere. So I was saying it while he was started singing a little while ago. What I really like is how his embouchure or his lip shapes stay very small, kind of rounded, and they don't like a lot of singers get like that when they go to sing, and it's unnecessary and it causes a lot of extra muscle engagement. So he does a really good job of keeping those embouchures nice and small, and even when he moves up into that higher stuff with the up in that kind of sound, it uses a lot of what we call vocal hook. The hook is kind of a loose term that refers to the way that a baritone voice would move up into the higher point of his range and not let things get too bright and ringy sound and like twangy and ringy sounding. So when you use the vocal hook, it kind of makes the sound go from like this to something more like this. Make that kind of sound. So he uses the vocal hook very well here. And so, I mean, it's obvious to me that if he wanted to move over into the classical spheres, like the operatic kind of thing, he very well could, just with a little bit of training and refinement, like on his vibrato and stuff like that. Other than that, I mean, this guy's like equipped to go. That larynx thing is one of the hardest things for, young classical students to really understand and do, and he's got it nailed.
In waters from above.
That was the hook. Wow.
Let this be
okay, when I watched this the first time, I just kind of did a glance through. I didn't like super in-depth analyze it, I guess is the best way to say it. And I kind of didn't pay as close attention to this part as I should have. That's just remarkable. Like, the changing, I mean, the notes themselves are not that difficult to sing. I wouldn't say that either of them are like super high or anything like that. It's not like that. It's the fluidity of the changing of the registers that makes this so ridiculous to me. Like, you just don't see people that can do that. I mean, I don't know if I've ever met anyone that can move between registers so frequently and keep a sense of consistency between the two different voice types. That's really remarkable stuff. I mean, that's really crazy. If I had not seen a video of this and someone just said, hey, listen to these singers, what do you think about them? I might have been convinced that it was two different people, very possibly, just because of how well he makes the distinction between the female and the male voice. Really, really remarkable. And the thing is, neither of the voices are phonating and making sound in a way that I would consider destructive or dangerous to the mechanism. So I don't suspect that he's going to lose the ability to do this anytime soon. If he keeps managing his voice this way, the way that he does here, I think he's going to be just fine.
Let this be your prayer, just like every child, just like every child.
Yeah, crazy control.
Need to find a place, guide us with your grace.
Head voice.
Give us faith so we'll be saved.
There's the hook. Yeah. Wow. Yep.
Wish closer.
Okay, so yeah, on that last note, that's a funny face. I don't want to leave him making that face.
On Wish 105.
So like on that last note, when he like you could hear it kind of brighten up as he went up in pitch. You could almost hear there to be this kind of brighter sound, and what he's doing there is he's using a little bit of that mask technique that a lot of voice teachers will advocate, where some people say that it feels like you're kind of about to bite into an apple, and that's a common thing that people using their head voice up in that range will do. It's also a very common thing that sopranos and mezzo-sopranos that are trying to learn belting will do. So it's clearly a technique that he's been trained. I don't know anything about his background, but it's obvious to me that he's had some degree of vocal training. I mean, he has to have been able to do this stuff. This is a really remarkable performance. Highlights an exceptional amount of vocal versatility. You just don't find singers like this very often. Excellent singer. If you guys have anything else of his that's like this impressive, I'd love to hear it. Please put it in the comments. Again, I am offering that free 30-minute vocal assessment on my website. Please check it out. I have all the links to my socials and everything down in the description in the comments. Also, please check out my Twitch channel because I do live streams and analysis on my Twitch channel. I try to do it once a week. It's been tough for me the past few weeks. I've been very busy, but I do stream at least once a week if I can, and I take your requests and analyses. Join my Discord server. There's a great community of singers and music enthusiasts on there. We talk about all sorts of awesome subjects. So that's it, and I hope to see you all again next week. Take care. Thanks. Bye.